as I knew it, was over. I was facing 15 years for possession of a firearm, trafficking cocaine, and being a habitual traffic offender. All after previously beating the firearms charge and out on $50,000 cash back. Boy, did I mess up. I told myself, Royale, let me see you get out of this one. See, up until that moment, I escaped any hardship I was ever presented with by taking shortcuts. I mean, that's what I believed in. See, Sonny from Bronxtown, you know Sonny from, Sonny from Bronxtown said that the working man is a sucker. And I believed in Sonny. I believed in the drug dealers and gangsters I grew up around. I mean, the neighborhood I was from, the hard-working people and honest people were poor and didn't command any respect. And the people who didn't seem to be honest and seemed to be successful commanded all the respect. I mean, look at me and my mom. We were poor. My mom worked hard at 2 jobs to put food on the table. Every couple of months, we had eviction notices on our door. So I grew up wanting to be a gangster and a drug dealer. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I was growing up, I was great at art, boxing, and track and field. But whenever I was met with a challenge in art, I quit. No one held me accountable. Whenever I was met with a challenge in boxing, I quit. And no one held me accountable. Whenever I was met with a challenge in track and field, I quit. No one held me accountable. But you see, the streets, oh my God, the streets showed me so much accountability. You see, the drug dealers used to drive down the block in nice cars with thick chains and bracelets and large wads of cash, pulsating out their pocket. They used to send me to the corner store to get Phillies, Dutches, 40s, and when I came back, they used to hit me with some change. They used to have me rolling dice for them. Upstairs. When I won, they would hit me with some change. They used to even have me picking out crack vials from behind the bushes for them. And when I retrieved it, they would give me some change. You know what? They even hid Ziploc bags of crack cocaine inside my boxing gloves. And when I retrieved it, they would hit me with some change. So I grew up wanting to be a gangster and a drug dealer. Guess what? I became that. See, finally, I could take care of my mom. I could drive down the block in nice cars wearing thick chains and bracelets with large wads of cash pulsating out my pocket. But some things were never right. One, my mother never wanted to take my money because she didn't understand where the money was coming from. So I said, Mami, one machine. My mom wasn't stupid. She knew that car dealers didn't walk around with 3 or 4 cell phones and large wads of cash pulsating out their pocket. Number 2, I was becoming a cold man to my family, to people who cared about me. Number 3, I was helping other people destroy themselves. So I used to say, okay, they're taking the drugs, I'm not giving it to them. If I don't give it to them, they're gonna take the drugs anyway. I'm not giving the drugs to them directly, I'm giving it to other people and they're giving it to them. But in life, you are either a part of the problem or a part of the what? Solution. And clearly I was a part of the what? Problem. And 4, I always was paranoid. I always felt like the police or the feds were gonna come and get me. Guess what? They did. All rise. You may now be seated. Court is in session. Floor man, do you have the verdict? I remember my family sitting behind me. Some of them are in here with tears in their eyes. And the floor man read it and went like this. On the charges of a firearm without an FID card, how do you find the defendant? Not guilty. On the charges of manufacturing and distribution of Chapter 94C, how do you find the defendant? Not guilty. On the charges of possession of a Class B substance with the intent to distribute, how do you find the defendant? Guilty. On the charges of being a habitual traffic offender, and I don't know if any of you know what a habitual traffic offender is. That's someone who drives with a suspended license, gets arrested, comes back out, drives with a suspended license, comes back out, gets arrested, comes back out, drives with a suspended license, they revoke the license, comes back out, drives with a license. They sentenced me for that too. Guilty. Mr. Lord, you were hereby sentenced to 3 years and 9 months in the House of Corrections. Good luck. The judge told me good luck. But you see, I was supposed to do those 15 years. Matter of fact, I should have been doing life for the things I've done. But God had different plans for me. When I knew that for me to activate those plans, I had to also activate my true self. Let me tell you something. Prison doesn't change an individual. No. Prison exposes you to your true self. But if that individual is more infatuated with their false self than their true self, that individual will remain the same. And me, I knew I had to change or else I'd be back in the same predicament again. There's a saying that goes, it's insane to keep doing the same thing and what? So I had to change. Let me tell you something about change though. Change is not a matter of ability because we all possess the ability to change. Change is a matter of motivation. Change is a matter of willingness. Change is a matter of getting rid of the old and bringing in the new. Change is a matter of environment. And I remember one day while I was doing time, my mom coming to visit me and looking at me behind a plexiglass window with tears in her eyes as she put her arms under her armpit, her hands under her armpit. She said, PT, it's all fam. Now for those of you who don't understand what I just said, I said, my son, is this what you do to me? And I don't know how many people in here are from the Caribbean or from a third world country or who's Haitian, but you know the biggest embarrassment for parents to have their child go to prison. And I remember as I walked back to my cell that night, I prayed to God. I said, God, listen. You know, we always bargaining with God, right? I said, God, listen. If you keep my mother alive long enough for me to come out of prison, I promise I'm going to turn my life around. But first, I need options. Because at the moment, I believe that selling drugs was the end-all, be-all. That was the most success I have ever had. And I promise you, like day and night, it went like this for me, right? God opened up the gates of heaven and he looked down and God said, my son, like Peter from the Bible, I'm going to turn you into a fisher of men, aka a motivational speaker. So in 2011, I came out of prison, a motivational speaker, and I couldn't wait to go tell my mother. So it went like this. I said, Mommy, I'm a motivational speaker. She said, PT, Sasaye, okay? For those of you who don't speak Creole, it means, what is that? Do they pay you? And if you're from a third world country, or if you're from the Caribbean, there's only 3 careers that matter. Either you become a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer. And clearly, I didn't become either one of them. So I had an idea. My mom being an avid churchgoer. When I say avid, I'm not talking about going to church just on Sundays. I'm talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day. So I said, Mommy, you know, a motivational speaker is somewhat like a pastor. She said, no. And she still believed in my dream. But in 2012, while in the process of becoming the top motivational speaker, I opened up at least a 1,000 square foot space, and I named it There I've Been Productions. And the first person I wanted to tell this news to was who? My mom. So I go to my mom. I said, Mommy, I'm opening up a studio, and I'm going to do workshops there. I'm going to help people avoid the pitfalls I wasn't able to avoid. She said, Petit, ça y est, Èske au PL. But my mom, she believed in my dream. How many of you have people who believe in your dreams right here? Put their hands up. And in 2016, after catching up on the back rent that I had for that space, that 1,000 square foot building, the landlord kicked me and my business out of the building. I was hurt, but I believed in the quote that says, when one door closes, another one opens up. So that same day in the town of Stoughton, I was driving down and I seen a 6,000 square foot building. I could barely pay the 1,000 square foot space. What did I do? I signed a lease to a 6,000 square foot building. So I couldn't wait to go tell my mother. So I went like this. I said, Mommy, I'm about to open up a community center in Stoughton. She said, wait, let me think. English, she said, he lost his mind. But my mother never stopped believing in my dream. And then a couple of months after, in 2016, my mother died. I'm like, God, I told you I was going to turn my life around. I did. And you take my mom? She didn't even get a chance to experience the fruit of my labor. But I knew that she would want me to continue on, following my dream. In 2017, a year after, while I'm preparing to observe her 1-year anniversary of passing, my father died. Me and my father, we didn't really have a tight bond, but that was my father. I'm like, God, what you doing to me? And the following year, the mother of my 2 youngest children died. Like, God, you're not giving me no grace. What you doing to me? It was a rough couple of years. I remember I used to sleep in my office on a twin-size air mattress. And I used to get up, go into the bathroom. I had shower shoes, and I used to take a towel and clean my body. Or sometimes I would take a shower in the gym. I had become homeless for my dream. I remember being behind on promises. I couldn't take care of my kids. I was getting judged. I got ridiculed. I was broke. Matter of fact, when my mom died, I had no money to contribute to her funeral. Oh my God. You're giving me no grace. And God opened up the gates of heaven again and said, my son, I told you I was going to turn you into a fisher of men, but before I turn you into a fisher of men, I have to test you. I had to make sure that the job I was going to put on your heart to do with the people, you will be ready to do it. I had to make sure that you could withstand the rain, the storm, the pain, To be able to come here and speak to all of you today, I had to make sure, before I make you official, man, I have to go through it. In 2018, that same year, I opened up the doors to the RTI Empowerment Center. It was tough too. Right? I learned the hard way that, success is not the end result. It's just the beginning of a new responsibility. So I struggled after. Many of you came to the grand opening. But after the grand opening, I was still struggling. And I remember a time I said, okay, I was too prideful. And I said, you know what? You got to put the pride aside. My favorite speaker, Les Brown, said that, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. You ask for help so you could remain strong. So I came up with a strategy. I said, okay, I know a lot of people. Right? I know a lot of people. So I'm going to text everybody I know. I'm going to ask them for $100. Okay? The lease is this amount. I need this amount. I can't ask one person for that amount. So I know a lot of people. Some of you are in it. Right? I'm going to text you. I text them, hey, I'm short on my rent for the Empowerment Center. Can you send me $100? Some people said yes. They sent me 100, they sent me 2, they sent me 5. Some people just read it and just, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Some people said I couldn't help you at the moment, but I put the guilt and shame aside, and I was able to maintain the RTI Empowerment Center. And in 2020, I bought the building.
Amen.
That same moment, I still felt guilt. I still felt shame because my number one supporter was not here to help me celebrate. She was not here to experience the fruit of my labor. And one day, came to me, said that my mom had to go on the other side to continue working for me. My mom passed me the baton. And one day I'll have to pass the baton, and one day my kids will have to pass the baton, and one day everyone in here will have to pass the baton. But in between, you have to keep following your dreams. Second thing I learned by a great man, he said that your dream must be so big that without God it's impossible to achieve. Last thing I learned, most importantly, I'll let y'all go. If you persist on a consistent basis, your dreams will have no choice but to come into fruition. I'm here to tell you that if I could come from the bottom, when I say the bottom, I'm not just talking about my neighborhood. I'm talking about my mistakes, my poor choices, the self-hate, the destruction. If I'm here to tell you that you can get unstuck. You can go from surviving to thriving. My name is, I'm known as Royale L, but my government name is Rinaldi Loredan. And I am the owner of the RTI Empowerment Center in Stoughton. Inside the RTI Empowerment Center, there's an event space. Inside the RTI Empowerment Center, there's a church. Inside the RTI Empowerment Center, there's a photographer who rents space downstairs. Inside the RTI Empowerment Center, there's an art gallery. And I'm here to tell you that if I could come from where I came from and what I went through, how dare anybody sitting here say they can't? How dare anybody sitting here can have an excuse to not follow your dreams? And a lot of you in here, I know y'all. We know each other. I did it. Y'all know where I come from. Y'all know what I went through. Y'all know how it came about. It's possible to go from surviving to thriving. It's possible to get unstuck. And I'm grateful everybody came here to help me celebrate my birthday.